Lawsuit update video. I was gonna wait to do this till probably tomorrow, but anyway, I got a PM from Give Me a Break Man asking me if I DMCA'd the DoucheExcellency video on his new account, whatever it is. And yes, I did. And just to say to DoucheExcellency, yes, I DMCA'd your video. I'm the one who did it. Yeah, I sent out a lot of DMCA's, 20 maybe, maybe 4 or 5 individuals altogether. And so the bottom line is yeah, okay, so Soupex has answered, Eternally Undenying Love has answered, and Joneser says he has responded to the DMCA. And so that'll be all I'll need. So I won't be sending out, there won't be any more DMCA's unless somebody does something really stupid, like make another video where they take clips of me saying things I never said, because that, in my opinion, is not covered by fair use, not even close. And I also may just make the argument about DoucheExcellency's video that he did. He called me a litigious motherfucker or something like that. And he also said some other shit, some other ad hom crap. And he's completely uninformed. I mean, he sits there and makes an argument, and he posts a Penn and Teller video where Penn clearly says you can't call somebody a liar. He makes that point pretty clearly. I mean, that's verboten, okay? And it is imbecilic. There's words that are allowed and words that aren't allowed. There's tones that are allowed. There's exceptions for parody and satire, but those are also limited because it depends on how you title it and how it's framed. I mean, you can do a cartoon that says something, but if you write a title on that cartoon that says something directly, you know, the cartoon could imply something, but if you make a title that directly says something, well, then it can be libels. And so there's all kinds of distinctions in the law, and it's because it's always going to be a difficult subject. You can't draw clear lines. They can only draw these ambiguous lines. It's like defining pornography. In most cases, it's going to be a thing where, yes, you know it when you see it kind of thing, and courts are going to have to make decisions based on a semi-ambiguous standard. And that's just unfortunate, but it's just a fact of our life. And so, yeah, he used my image in it, and he, in my opinion, libeled me by calling me a litigious motherfucker, and some of the other things he said. And so I'm really making the point that you can use my content for academic purposes to make an argument, for educational purposes to make an argument, and for clear parody. You know, when you're doing something that's creative and is supposed to contain elements of humor, but that also has lines. Like I said, parody or satire is not an unlimited freedom either. There's lines you can't cross. But regardless, his video wasn't those things. It was clearly a statement, and I'm not a public figure. I don't have power, and so without power, I don't have the same capacity to defend myself against these arbitrary and unsupported accusations that can be easily just thrown out into the ether of public hearing. And that's the principle in the law. But I think even by the public official standard, I can prove malicious intent. So it doesn't really matter too much, but it does matter. There are distinctions for different people. So I'm not going to go through all the case law. I've been reading a lot of it. And so anyway, yeah, the bottom line is I did it to his video partly because he doesn't live in this country, and I wanted a case to throw out there to the court from another country, just to point out how ludicrous it is for somebody to have to sue somebody in their country. And so there's got to be some mechanism that makes that possible in our system, especially when the DMCA itself says federal court. It doesn't say Mexican federal court, it says American federal court. But anyway, and also I wanted a video that was not as egregious as the others in terms of what was done to the image itself, because I want the court to answer as many questions as possible. I want them to decide as many issues as possible, and so I figured this would be a good case example, and I figured he deserved it. And there's a guy who had his account suspended, and he sticks his nose into this issue and does it in you know, a sloppy manner, in an arrogant manner, and so I felt no apprehension about doing it. And as regard to censorship, I mean, the fact is these videos get 99% or 95% of the views they're going to get before YouTube takes them down. So censorship seems a pretty bogus argument. And it will be likely the video will go back up. Maybe. I don't know for sure. I can't say that for sure. But it does seem unlikely I'm going to be able to meet the standards in the law of they give you this narrow time period to have a docket number, and that's just not going to happen within the time frame they give you. So but that's sort of irrelevant. I mean, like I said, what's the difference if these videos go back up when they've already been viewed by 95% of the people that are ever going to see them, because of the way this system is broken. So anyway, I figured it'd be an interesting case, and like I said, and he deserves it. He just goes too far. I mean, I could sit there and come up with all kinds of slurs. I mean, the guy says trailer trash in the last video. So what do we? How does that? How do we qualify that terminology? I mean, what do we compare it to? And then he's in the text. I mean, in the description, or even in the tags, he calls me a twat. So exactly, people went nuts because I said skanky cunt, but he can call people a twat. So I mean, these distinctions these other people are making seem kind of conveniently arbitrary. When it comes out of their mouth, it's okay. When it comes out of somebody else's mouth, it's not okay. So the hypocrisy is all pretty obvious. And so if people don't like it, people all love the old DoucheExcellency, and they think it's all nasty of me, well, go ahead and think it. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm in a blocking mood, so say something, do something. I don't care. I really just don't care. These aren't hard standards to understand. This isn't you want to live in chaos and bullshit. That's your choice. I have a different perception of what life means and what it's worth living in, what kind of atmosphere it's worth living in. And I don't want to have to resort to their level. I don't want to play the game by their rules. I don't want to spend my time, waste my time arguing with people using Photoshop. That really isn't how I want to spend my time on YouTube. You can look through my 800 videos. I've never photoshopped anybody. I've never taken their comments out of context. I've never manipulated their speech one tiny bit. And so this is just fucking bullshit. All right? It is not conducive. It is not constructive. And you people can say that somehow this free speech is necessary, this free slander. But I think that's just bullshit. And there needs to be some kind of little bit of a standard hanging over people's head that says, yes, in certain cases, if somebody wants to go the trouble and expense to tell you can't do that, they can tell you can't do that. It's got to be a little bit of apprehension, a little bit of responsibility imposed. Not this nonsense where I just spend, 15 minutes in Photoshop and fuck with somebody. I mean, it really is bullshit. And if you can't make that distinction, if you can't understand that difference between free speech and slander, yeah, okay, fuck you. We disagree. It's that simple. We really don't need to have a conversation about it. So you do what you have to do in your life, and I'll do what I have to do in my life. Anyway, summing up, yeah, I'll be filing whatever, probably sending stuff out, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, one of these days this week. Get my printer working. I haven't decided what federal court I will file in, what state. I'll see what these people's different addresses are and see which one is most conducive to my purposes. The interesting thing will be is if a judge will consolidate the cases, since they are going to be deciding the same issues of fact. It seems likely they're going to have to do that. If they don't, the advantage is also I retain an advantage, just because then even if I have to file separate lawsuits, it'll cost me more money, but then I have the advantage of having different judges. And you never know what you're going to get when you get different judges. I mean, I could get a crappy judge throw his case out in one case, and the other case he gets it and he's all for it, and he doesn't like having Hitler mustaches painted on him, and I win. So I don't see any downsides. One way I get to consolidate all these cases, get all the information placed in front of one judge, and let one judge make all these decisions. And another case I get the idea where I'm invested in more than one judge, so I'm less likely to be abusable. So that's the status of things. Probably going to be the last, unless somebody does something really outrageous. I don't see any need to go over any of this shit again. So that'll be it for a while in terms of the updates. But we'll see. Maybe whatever. Well, no promises. Who knows what video I will make tomorrow? You never know. I never know. I don't even know what's coming next. So, anyway, thanks for watching. No thank you to the hate. But who cares? What's the difference? Go ahead and hate me. If it makes you happy, go ahead and hate me.